Hello everyone, welcome back to another session with me. This is the Ocean Tile series and today is the second session and I have another Zendala in front of me, and as I showed to you yesterday, I have used my watercolor blue to make the tile, a colored tile to create a base for my tangles. Yes, let's get started with today's session. The first thing that I'm going to do again is to draw the background tangle using my Gellyroll. Yes, so yesterday we used a tangle called Groovy. Today we are going to use simple tangle called PRINTEMPS, but really big ones. It's a tangle that is again very nice to show waves or water. Yes, so I'm going to fill up this tile first with my background tangle. I'm using the Gellyroll white. You can use your Sakura or Uniball or any other Gellyroll. I'm drawing some really big ones here, bigger than usual, so that I can quickly and nicely give a background to my tile. You can draw behind, it always looks nice. Yes, so I'm going to slowly go ahead and draw these beautiful spirals, the tangle PRINTEMPS, and fill up my entire tile. Give a background to the tile, a background that looks somewhat like waves or water, since it's the Ocean Tile series. Yes, like this. So I'm going to go ahead slowly. Take your time. You can draw the spirals clockwise or anti-clockwise. That's not an issue at all. It's okay if the lines are shaky. They need not be perfect. We are creating a background which in a way is going to represent water or waves, and waves will be wavy. Yeah, so don't bother if the lines are not stable. Just go ahead, make some big spirals. It's an excellent meditation, so don't haste up. Take your time, slowly fill up the entire tile with these overlapping spirals. Sometimes you find it difficult to create the overlapping effect. The only simple trick for that is to start close to the previous one. Yes, so I'll not go too far. I'll start somewhere close so that I'm bound to draw behind after just 2 or 3 layers. Yes, so take your time. I will draw at my own pace. Enjoy the process and draw some really big ones like these. So I'm almost done doing my background, just a little bit space left. Filling up that space with further spirals, tangle PRINTEMPS. Take your time. Yes, so that's our background. Give it few seconds to dry up. So let's add a mix of tangles. So as usual, as I did yesterday, I'm going to start from the darker side here. Yes, and start with a tangle called MARASU, but just that there will be two MARASUs connected together. So let's get started. I'm using a boulder nib here. Started with my MARASU. You can probably so I'm rolling it in, extending it to another MARASU, and this one I'm going to extend. So some bit of drawing behind there and then complete this curve. Yes, if you want you can add one more curve, but we shall see. I don't want to do that right now. Let's now create those sections as we do for the Tangle MARASU. Slowly take your time, drawing double lines and dividing the spiral into further sections. Try not placing the bands under each other, just create a zigzag. Yes, extending it further, slowly. Take your time. Just the way you draw the Tangle MARASU. Just that these are two MARASUs kind of connected with each other. Keep rotating your tile. Don't move your hand much. Once it is in its comfort position, and we are done creating those sections. Yes, let's now ink alternate sections. So I'm going to start here, leave a small highlight in between, or maybe we can add the highlight with our Gellyroll. I'm going to straight ink it. You can use a bolder nib. I'm using my 08 already, so I'm not switching pens here. You can draw with your PN or an 08. As I mentioned earlier, since we are drawing over our Gellyroll, it would be nice to use a bolder nib. Slowly take your time. Ink alternate spaces just the way we do for MARASU. Make sure you ink it nicely. There are no empty spaces in between. Yes, take your time. Slowly do it at your own pace. So I am done inking my MARASU. Now we have some spaces here. I'm going to start adding some tipples and some caviars in between the tipples, like this. So some tiny tipples and some bigger caviars. Well, you can always choose some other tangle to draw. That's perfectly fine. When you're drawing the tipples, make sure they are close enough. There should not be any empty spaces. Take your time. Slowly fill up the space. You can add some big ones. You can also add all of the tipples of the same size. That's entirely your choice. How do you want to go about doing it? Stipple is a great filler. Some awkward spaces here and there. It is always available to rescue. Yes, so some bit of tipple there. Now I'm going to start adding some other tangle. So choose any tangle of your choice. I'm going to now add a few of a tangle called Tunnel Vision. So it starts with this inverted U shape, and then I'm going to draw a caviar, and then I'm going to add some lines with a highlight, or you can draw plain lines, whichever way you like it. Yes, look nice. So I'm going to add one here, a little bigger one. Now this caviar can be placed anywhere you like. It's not necessary it has to be placed right in the center. Accordingly, the way you aura the tangle inside differs. So this one is going to be a big one. Peeping out. It's a very wonky, crazy kind of a tangle to draw. I thought probably it will look nice in an underwater scenario, so but you can always choose tangles of your choice. Yes, feel free to do that. So I'm going to draw. So as you can see, I'm changing the place where I'm drawing this caviar every time, and then adding further auras like this. Yes, take your time. You can add as many as you wish. Tangle Tunnel Vision. And then I'm going to add a few LUNARFLUX. So for that I'm going to draw a stem and then place 3 or 4 or 5 as many droplet shapes as you want to, and then go around, give a slight curve. Like this. Yeah, looks nice. So I'm going to place a few of them. Now go around, add a small little tiny head there, and join it back. You can also add some plain flux if you wish to. Yes, so draw at your own pace. Again, I'm going to add one nice LUNARFLUX. Go around. Yes, again you can add some normal flux also placed here and there, whichever way you like it. It's a nice tangle to draw, LUNARFLUX. You can also have just a single one. Depending on the spaces, you can just draw it the way you wish to. Yes, so I'm not going to add anything else as of now, and then I'm going to go with a single simple tangle called RAYZ. Yes, it almost looks like a stingray, and this is how the tangle goes. Yes, by Sarah Fowler. It's a tangle which looks somewhat like the stingray. And that is all about the tangle. Simple to draw. And then you can add anything inside here. Of course, you can add Knightsbridge here to highlight the center a little more. And use a little finer nib such as a PN. I was using 08 till now. So finer nib to add anything inside. Something like shattuck probably. Any tangle of your choice. Like this. Yes, that's about it. You want, you can add some bit of zen factor there. It's a small stingray. If you want, you can add few more. I'm not going to do that. I'm adding a little weight on one side of these beautiful droplet shapes of my LUNARFLUX. Yes, you can also add some bit of weight on one side of your flux. So these are small little enhancements. It's entirely up to you. You may or may not do it. And that's it. I think we are done with our tangling. Yes, let us now get to shading. So the first thing first, I'm going to probably use my Gellyroll a bit. Highlight these tipples and bronze chairs, very tiny ones. So using my Gellyroll and re-emphasizing the highlight with a white Gellyroll. Yes, then we can add highlight here on our MARASU. As I mentioned, if you don't want to do that while you are inking, you can use your Gellyroll very comfortably. Go back and add that highlight. Yes, I'm also going to highlight this dot inside my TUNNELVISION. Small things that make your tangle pop up, especially when you are drawing on a colored surface. I'm again using my Gellyroll and highlighting the other side of my LUNARFLUX. We will be adding some chalk. Just adding a slight touch of Gellyroll before we go ahead and add the chalk. Yeah. Let's now shade with our graphite. So as I mentioned, you have a choice. You can either use your graphite pencil, yes, or you can use your gray brush pen. So let's see, I'm going to add the gray brush pen first and use your water brush to blend it very little. We don't want to blend too much because we already have a watercolor background. Yes, So I'm going to use my brush pen, add some grays, not too much. Yes, and then use your water brush to blend it a little. Don't blend too much. Yes, then moving on next to our MARASU. Again, I'm going to add some shadow on both sides, the way we generally shade our MARASU. Wherever there is no inking, just adding some grays. Slight touches, not too much. You don't want the entire thing gray. And then just with a light hand, blend the gray. A slight touch is what you need. Just soften the watercolor. Even if you don't do it, it just looks like a shadow. It's a very light gray. Yes, you can leave it as such also. I'm just blending it a little. And then I'm going to add shadow here, a little under my flux. Add it any ways you want. You can also add shadow inside. Slowly take your time. Just some touches there. Yes. And then moving on to our LUNARFLUX. We have already added some weight. I'm going to add a slight shadow under that weight that we added on one side. Blend it a little. Just soften it. Yes. And then you can add a highlight there. Wait for the watercolor to dry. If it has not, some of the places you can redo the lines. If you think they have gone hazy, go back and revisit the lines. Coming next to our stingray, so I'm going to add shadow on one side and highlight the other. So use a chalk now. For highlights. can add touches on your LUNARFLUX also, although we have already added a highlight with our Gellyroll. Yes, but you can always go back and add highlights with your chalk. Just kind of blurring the background inside my LUNARFLUX. That's what I'm doing here. You can add highlights here, although we have already broken the lines, but you can add touches. That's fine. Yes. You can also run your chalk over the MARASU. I'm pressing it hard. These things are optional if you wish to, since the highlight is already there, but still if you want, you can run your chalk over it to re-emphasize the highlight. Yes. So that's about it. I don't think we need to do much. I'm just revisiting some of the lines, yes, which have gone hazy after shading. Revisiting them, like the flux. You can add some tipples here and there. Look nice. And that's about it. I don't think we need to do anything else. We are done. You can of course fill up some of the spaces. Add some more tipples. Yes, that's about it. As I mentioned, if you want, you can add some more stingrays. If you think there is more space, you can add one more here coming from that side. But I'm going to stop here, close my tile here. So put in your chop. Sign and date your tile always. I shall see you again with some more sessions on ocean tiles. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye.